Hey you guys, my name is Gabe, this is Kevin, and we are here with episode 3 of how to ride a surf wheel. So this episode is all about the advanced riding techniques. So if you have not watched episode 1, which is about the surf wheel, or episode 2, which is basic riding techniques, you should definitely go and watch those first before we get into this video, because we're gonna be covering some more advanced techniques here. So I wanna make sure you guys are ready to follow these steps and master the art of surf wheel riding. So the first thing we're gonna do, if you notice on our surf wheel now, we have learner wheels on. So what we wanna do is, now that you guys are really good, you've progressed and you're ready to learn some more advanced movements, we're gonna take these learner wheels off and get the full power of the surf wheel. So we're gonna take these off first. So now the learner wheels have been removed, and there's one more step that we must do before we move on to these advanced techniques, and that is pull out the Surfwheel app that we covered in episode 2 and turn off learner mode. Now that has been turned off, we're ready to go. And real quick, if you guys are feeling confident, you're feeling like you're good to go, you can once again go to performance tuning and switch up the power, switch up the acceleration, switch up the responsiveness to whatever settings you want. Go ahead and just try out a few different things. We're gonna go ahead and max these out for ourselves. So this is the basic mode for the surf wheel now. This is how you'll be riding it when you're out there surfing and cruising on the streets. So you wanna just make sure you're comfortable riding a little faster, riding without the learner wheels. You wanna just make sure you're very comfortable, and don't forget to be wearing your helmet, your pads, all that stuff. Safety is the #1 priority. So just make sure you're very comfortable before you start learning some of the maneuvers that we're gonna teach you now. You are ready to learn your very first advanced surf wheel technique, which is the beginner turn. It's not called a beginner turn because it's for beginners. This is just the very first step of your turn, because turning is a very, very advanced maneuver on the surf wheel. And if you can learn the beginner turn, you can learn anything on this thing, and I mean anything. So first things first, make sure that your helmet and your pads are on. Make sure that you are going a very comfortable, slow speed to start. You barely want to be moving for this one. You want to take this one very slow when you're learning how to turn. All you have to do is turn your shoulders in the direction that you want to turn. That shoulder movement is what is going to make the surf wheel follow you. So this is, you got to sort of think of this like a pivot, like a in-place standing pivot. So once you turn your shoulders, naturally your hips, your legs, your feet, they're all gonna wanna follow that motion. So I'm gonna reiterate this. This isn't like a full going really fast, turn around like U-turn. You take it very slow. So you wanna go very slow or almost not even be moving. Turn your shoulders the direction you wanna go, and you wanna give the surf wheel a little nudge. You kinda wanna use your shoulders to whip it around a little bit. And that pivot right there is what is gonna cause the surf wheel to turn around. The second advanced maneuver that you will learn on the surf wheel is the pivot along, or the swing turn. So this particular maneuver is exactly like surfing, or exactly like carving on a skateboard in a snake run. So what you do is, you're in the basic surf wheel riding position, and what you want to do is you want to lower your hips, okay? And you want to get a lower center of gravity, and what you're doing is you're kind of snake running the surf wheel. So the key with this is that you don't want to lean too far forward or too far backward. You don't want to overturn your shoulders. You're not doing a full U-turn. You're doing a partial turn and then correcting yourself and going the opposite direction. So you never want to lean too far this way, too far that way. You always want to keep it slight. And like I said, it's all about making corrections, okay? So you want to start turning this way, and then it's all about correcting yourself and then going the opposite direction. And then you can start going with a little more speed. And as I said before, the more practice you have with this, the better it's gonna feel. So start out slowly. The more practice you have, the faster you can go, and the more steezy you're gonna look. You're gonna start looking really, really sick. You're gonna be carving around on the streets. You're gonna look great. The third and final technique that we will be teaching you today is the pull-push technique. You have both of your feet in the basic riding position, and then what you do is you slide both feet in the same direction, either forward or backward, and when you do that, the surf wheel it'll drift in that direction. So if you see in surfing, you'll see every once in a while surfers are kind of going, and then they'll go, and the tail will whip around and they'll kind of drift to a certain direction and then keep going.